Right. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad to join this team this afternoon and to be able to share the model we have implemented over the last 8 years. We've been working at it, and we're excited to see how it evolves and to also get feedback from everybody. So as you say, from East Africa, Karibu Sana. I'm glad to have everybody here. Na salamu mingi, a lot of greetings from Kenya. So as Grace has said, my name is Mary Kiguru. I've been serving with Education for All Children since 2016. I'm somehow a founding member because we started the organization way back in 2009 and only got registered in 2016 to officially operate in Kenya. Today's expectations basically is that I'm hoping that we learn more about Education for All Children, the employability program. We can see what we have been able to do and see what ideas we can be able to adapt. We reflect on how we track our journey and share inputs into how maybe we can improve the model or what you think are the key challenges within the model. So to start us off and to think through, kindly log into menti.com. You can scan the QR code on the screen. If it doesn't go through fast enough, just type menti.com and then enter the code 63814645. So just enter the code. You can scan the QR code and let me know if anyone is having a challenge. If the QR code doesn't work for you, you can go to menti.com and enter the code there. So we can take like 5 minutes to go through the questions and then reflect a bit about the questions that you are responding to. Oh, sorry. Thank you. You can see the words that are describing our expectations this afternoon. Insightful learning are coming out very loudly. For all of us, we are optimistic, being innovative, a good employability model, learning something, knowledge. What dream do you have for your graduates? What would you like them to become? I think here there is some kind of uniformity, which means most of us are agreeing from the 27 responses. You want them to get into professional internships. You want them employed after graduation. They're self-employed. They are ethical leaders, to be confident. So this is the dream you have for your graduates. When they come to you, this is what you'd like them to become. And the loudest here is that they get a job. They are employed. We can see entrepreneurs, they're technologists, they're global citizens, they're problem solvers, they're change makers. Fantastic. Employable now becomes very loud. Successful. How can we define this successful? What successful is? They're innovative. So let's see. What are you doing now to guide them to become? So you want them to be entrepreneurs, you want them to be successful, you want them to be employable, they are ethical leaders. Then what are you doing now? And what can you be able to do to make sure that this person becomes this person you want them to be? You're modeling, you're training, you're making sure they're exposed, supporting. Yeah, think through. Think through. You want them to become all these things we have stated here. You want them to be proactive, to be aggressive, to be resilient, to be leaders. Then what am I doing now to make them become this person? Career workshops, internships, empowering, experiential learning, soft skills training, coaching, exposure, companies profile sharing, practical experience, mentoring. Yeah, training is very loud. It's the biggest thing here for all of us. That means most of us, that's what we are doing. We are modeling. We have career workshops. So do we have career support offices? We can see that out of the people who are in this room who have responded, at least 15 have career development or a support office on career development. We have 6 that don't have any. So what do you define as success then? How do you say that my scholars are successful, or our CD is being, how can we measure success as career development or career guidance officers? What would you define as success? So we have 2 minutes. The employment rate, self-employed rate, job placement, training, empowerment, meaningful jobs, high impact jobs. Wow, meaningful jobs has a lot of people, that's what they would measure as successful. I believe that by meaningful jobs, I'm saying that they're actually getting jobs for the courses they're getting trained or where their interest lies, and probably even getting higher employment, transformational change, empowerment, employable, employer feedback agency, paradigm shifts. Okay. We still have more coming in. How do we monitor then this particular success? So we are saying some of the things that we consider success is the empowerment. How do you measure empowerment? Employable, how are we measuring employable? We are having the number of scholars probably, or students following their passions. How many are being placed in jobs? How many are in entrepreneurship? The employment rate of our graduates. So how are you tracking this? Yeah, some ideas or some of the implemented ways that you've been measuring our success in career development, support. Think if you have had like maybe a database where you respond, so you have informal feedback, you use feedback forms, post-graduation, not sure what you mean by post-graduation, companies visit, so you're getting feedback from the companies, you have a database tracking this. So we have surveys on employability. We have the tracer study. We have the national data through counseling, self-reporting guides, informal feedback surveys, one-on-one mentoring sessions. Very good. We're already tracking our success, and we know how to track our success out of the ones that actually have the CD departments in their institutions. So that is good feedback. And I'm glad that most of us actually are doing something to track the employability of your graduates. And I think most of the time, we don't usually like track where the students are going, but I will share our model and how we track the success of our scholars and what we have defined as success for our scholars. So basically, I'll give a small background about education for all children. We call it EFAC. As I started from the very beginning by asking, what is the dream you have for your scholar? Well, one of the dreams we have, our big dream for our scholar, is that we have 100% successful transition into the job market within 12 months of graduation. And we see by 36 months, most of them have a leading change in their communities, even if it is in their families. We are able to track that because we keep them in our network, even as alumni. What have we really been trying to address? For one, our scholars start very early, so it's an 8-year journey with us. They start when they are 14 years of age, and they finish with us around 24 years of age when they complete their undergraduate studies. From the bottom right, you can see we have had at least a population of 1,003 scholars. The 42% are in high school. That is the age between 14 and 18. So we start very early at high school, and we start cultivating the competencies they need for work at that particular age. The difference between post-secondary and the high school is that we started with small numbers. So, but right now we are taking more students into our program. Like this year we have taken 250, and we only recruit in high school. So basically, what we are trying to address here is the ease of graduation of graduates into the job market. That has been cited as the biggest problem. And the problem is not just integrating into the job market, but most of the time, graduates don't have the requisite skills and competencies to fit into the existing job. So we want to serve as a launchpad by accelerating the rate of integration into the job market, by ensuring that they are acquiring experiences and competencies to navigate through the job market. So most of the time, schooling doesn't always inculcate these competencies. It's by engagement in extracurricular activities and like internships or volunteer work, that they're building their work experience, they are building their resumes along the way. So we start very early. As I said, it's an 8-year journey. We've put some interventions into place. So we do intensive mentoring. Our scholars have to engage in community service. We work with organizations to ensure that there's job shadowing and there are internship opportunities for our scholars that translate into job placement. So we have a career development space with officers in place, and the role of our career development space is to develop partnerships with the industry, to organize networking events, and to identify opportunities where our scholars can do community service, intern, and get placed in the job market. And through the Career Development Office, we also do a lot of training through a mentoring program to ensure that the scholars are equipped with the networking skills and also building their entrepreneurial thinking. We are currently working with 30 universities and 25 high schools across the country. So we place the scholars in these high schools with a goal that the school will nurture their leadership acumen, and also that they will be more successful in entering into appropriate programs at post-secondary level. So, sorry, I think I should go back one slide. So our project, basically, our expectations and our target is that at least 80% of our scholars will get a job within 12 months of graduation, that they are self-driven to get the jobs. They can actually get the jobs for themselves without our intervention, because we have equipped them with the communication skills, with the networking skills, so that they can get these jobs for themselves. But we create sometimes the space for them to network at least twice a year. We're also building our alumni so that they're the connectors to the job market. What we have discovered, they will identify jobs and they'll come back to us so that for us to recommend those who are still in the program for certain jobs. Our outcomes, we measure the percentage of the scholars transitioning into the post-secondary. Usually we have 100% transition. We've only had a few cases, less than 1%, that are dropouts through our program. We have 100% of our scholars doing community service throughout the program. We also measure the percentage that are job shadowing, percentages in internships, and those placed after graduation. And we also look at those who are getting the jobs for themselves without our intervention, that is linking them to a job. Our intervention, of course, holds because we are mentoring them and we are training them. And then we also look at the numbers that get the jobs through the office. So our interventions we have to develop a network of mentors. We have bridge workshops across the 8 years. We have online ventures. We have a venture capital program for the entrepreneurs, and we develop linkages to the job market. And then we have success managers managing the career development. So we have seen that what has really worked for us are collaborations with the universities for experience building, having partnerships with the industry, and having corporate mentorship and engaging our alumni. The Bridge program that I talked about over there, it's called the Bridge to Employment program. So we have an entry survey at age 14, where our selection is based on potential leadership, a person who has a dream. So at entry, we take them through the process of visioning their future. And the visioning of the future is seeing what is the change they would like to see happen. And when they know the change that they need to see happen, then we ask them to start their journey, which we call the Wezesha journey, to see what is it that I can do now. And because they're entering high school, it's really getting into a good high school and ensuring their academic performance remains high so that they successfully transition into post-secondary to study or equip themselves with the skills they need to bring about the change. We always tell them at age 14, sometimes it's too early. So every year they have to reflect on the change again as they get, because our Bridge to Success program is based on emotional intelligence, where they're being aware of themselves and their environment. So whatever they write at age 15 might be different by the time they're age 18. So again, they will review that at age 18 to see what is the real change that I want to see happen, what problems do I see in my community, and what would I like to change, so that now they can decide where they're going to, what they're going to study at the university. Then we normally have a 1-month program where we are with them at a center. And during this particular time, they have reviewed the change they want to see. They review the change they want to see in the world. And then they have decided, they evaluate themselves. What competencies do I have? What strengths do I have? And what grade have I acquired in high school? So what can I be able to study to equip myself to bring about that particular change, and where can I study it? So like for this year, we have 92% of our scholars will be going into bachelor's degree and 8% will be going to technical diplomas. So we are taking them through the process of really deciding what they will study to actualize their vision or the change they want to see. We take them through a digital literacy program so that they are properly equipped to use technology. So we assist them in placing them in post-secondary institutions. And this year, at least, we have a big number. We usually have even a higher number. Usually the technical diplomas will be around 5 to 2%. The rest will be going for undergraduate. So we also help them open their LinkedIn profile, and they open an e-portfolio to track what they are doing and what they are becoming, experiences they are gathering, and the competencies they are building. Once they enter into the university or the college they enter into, so we start what we call the Bridge to Employment program, which is a 3-year program. So each year they will be coached, the mentors will be coaching them and guiding them on career. Basically, because they have already entered into the program of choice, is finding opportunities in the first year when they first do community service and volunteer work, but in consecutive years, they are either interning during the breaks, and they're building their experience, they are networking. So, and we have a summit every year with them. During that time, they network with the business world. We bring people into the room that they're networking with. We also assist them to do job shadowing around that time. So they also review their e-portfolio and their LinkedIn profile. Upon the last year at the call in college, we call it the Wezesha year. It is a bridge to job market program, which starts with reviewing of the CV. So they have a 6-hour webinar on CV writing, and also looking at their LinkedIn, the jobs they've been able to attract. So they're reviewing their profiles and LinkedIn. What experiences have I had over the 3 years that I've been in school? What have I been doing? And what have I become? So that we have that one week then in a camp where they're doing self-evaluation. During this particular week, they have looked at their CV, the jobs they have attracted, they review the jobs they're attracting on LinkedIn. If the jobs are not a suit to what they have become, then they have to revise their profile, which means their profile is wrong. So they revise their profiles around that time. So we also track this because they are all connected to our LinkedIn. We are seeing the kind of the kind of jobs they are getting. So we take them through that particular process of self-evaluation, which also includes a mock interview. So we have HR representative into our space from different organizations that take them through the interviews, also assessing how well they're able to present themselves, whether they're able to package themselves for a job. And in most of the cases, they end up getting in internship with the interviewers, or they get an opportunity to get placed. We also ask our partners to send us job opportunities, and this is the time our pool is interviewed. So throughout the year, the one Wezesha year, they have at least 3 months period for job shadowing. So they'll be going for a day or for a week. They agree with the organization when they can enter and job shadow in the areas that they are interested in. So what we have, our Wezesha journey, we based it on the build model. And this is somehow borrowed from African Leadership Academy, their build model. Basically, we take them through the process of dreaming, thinking about the vision they have for themselves or the change they want to begin, and guide them throughout the program that they have to believe they can bring the change they want to bring, and look at what they are studying or what they want to study to bring about this big change. So for that process, we call it the understanding phase. So they're looking at the environment, they're looking at things that can affect their becoming. They're looking at they do a SWOT analysis, basically of themselves, but they also do an environmental study to see what is going on around them and what is really the problem in their community they would like to address. Then they innovate. Then what can they do to bring about the change? Or what can they do now to become the person they want to become? The question they ask themselves, why would I want to be a doctor or an engineer? For what? What change do I want to bring? Or what is the problem that I want to address? So then they are learning and listening. So they're getting feedback from others. They are consulting with their mentors, and they're really learning about the job market. They're learning about how to address the problems that are in the community. And what we have seen is that most of them start initiatives in their community to already start addressing that early. Then the lever is really really practicing, ensuring that they're building their experiences, ensuring that they are building their competencies when they're still in school, so that they're not seeking for a job after graduating, but they actually get the job by the time they graduate. So basically, this is also like the questions they ask around themselves that are addressed in the build approach. So how do we collect our data? So we have an entry survey at Form 1 and at post-secondary. Like now, this month, we are with the transition class that is going to post-secondary. So we collect we do an exit survey out of high school and an entry into post-secondary. Annually, we are tracking their academic progress throughout. So we have a grant application process through which they are entering their academic grades. We have what we call the academic planner, that they have to enter the grades of the previous semester or previous term, and then see where they are excelling and what skills and knowledge they are acquiring. We do community service and the leadership survey as well. Biannually, that is every 2 years, on the employability, we're looking at how many are entrepreneurs, how many are doing internships, how many are job shadowing, how many have started personal initiatives like entrepreneurial activities, but also like community-based organizations addressing certain issues in the community. We are also we also do a community service survey to see how many our alumni are engaged in community service. They're serving in their boards, local boards, and etc. Each has an e-portfolio. In high school, they have it as a hard copy, so we give them a copy of it, which they will enter into an e-portfolio during this time for transition. We have an EFA community portal. All students are registered in this portal, and they will be entering their information in it. This includes high school. In high school, we provide a smartphone, so they're able to enter their data into the community portal. Then we have an exit survey. We do it at 12 months after graduation. That is the exit survey when they're graduating after 8 years. And we have a 36 months after graduation. Now, this one also helps us to see how many are getting into leadership spaces in their communities. We have several tools that we normally use. We have an academic, or what we call a career planner. In high school, we basically manage this for them. But at post-secondary, everyone has the academic planner broken down into semesters. And we normally require that before they get a grant to pay their fees, then they have filled their academic and career planner. So they have entered all the courses they have taken in the previous semester and the grade they got, and also what skills they have acquired and what knowledge they have acquired and what competencies they have built. They are also supposed to fill in that their engagement in community service, on whether they have done an internship. So to follow up on that, we normally use the e-portfolio where they're gathering evidence of the things they do so that they can evaluate who the person they are becoming. So the e-portfolio normally enables us to see what they're able to do. Maybe if this allows, you can just have a glimpse of one of our alumni and her e-portfolio. So this is how the e-portfolio looks like. The tabs that we normally require is basically a home that describes you and shows some of the work that you are doing. Are you seeing the portfolio? I'm showing a sample of an e-portfolio from one of our scholars. So the tabs I said, like about, shows the CV as it is. The expertise is what she is selling to the job market. And then community service is evidence of experiences. Yeah, so she has certificates showing what she has done. She has photos of that and some reflections against each of the photo. Then she has demonstrates leadership. How has she been able to lead? So she goes to show all that. And what affiliations she has. Who has she worked with? Which organizations has she worked with? So basically, that is how the e-portfolio will look like for an FAC scholar. Okay, so we have the e-portfolio, then we have the biannual surveys on employability. We also collect our data through our platform, which is the Salesforce. So we are continuously updating this every semester. We have an FAC community portal. Now, every scholar is registered in the portal, and they will be uploading like all the academic planners, the e-portfolio, and even their LinkedIn pages on the portal. So we are able to access that. So this allows us to have an informal collection of data along the way. Our scholars have to all have a LinkedIn profile. Again, they are linked to us like a school. I don't know, it's not a connection. It's really linked in so that we can see, they select FAC as a school so that we can be able to track what they are doing. So what we can say is our success rate. So we can see, this is for post-secondary. We have 393 students in our post-secondary. We can see that at the moment, we have at least 66% are doing their bachelor's. We have 24% that are in diploma, and then we have 8% in diploma, and we have some doing certificates. These ones doing certificates are actually certifications. They are specific, like IBM certification or for professional development. So we have quite a number of them taking that and also still taking their courses at the university and college. Out of all this, out of our alumni, 79.69 are employed. This includes those who have their own ventures and those who are on paid internships. We have a 13% that are not yet employed, and we have a figure here that is still going through school. They haven't graduated. From our records, they have not graduated as yet. So how we track our impact is that we are looking at the academic performance, and we see academic performance has a very high contribution on their employability. So mostly you'll find that most of our scholars are, in Kenya, we have first class, second upper, second lower, and a pass. You find that most of the people who find jobs are above the second lower. So academic performance is a critical element for employability. Community service is also critical. You can see all of them are at above 75%. Community service provides the space for experience and competence and also networking. The organizations where they are doing community service, they are able to connect and people to connect them to the job market. So they use it a lot for networking. And also, like in their resume, they will show that they have experience. And again, on leadership, those who have taken leadership on initiatives, particularly through community service, integrate more easily into the job market. They connect easily. They get promoted easily. The class that we have that graduated last year, the graduation is dependent on the college. Remember, they're in different colleges. You can see at least 77% were able to get into the job market. That is within the 12 months of the year. So at least 77% of them out of the 93 that graduated the whole of last year, we have seen that most of them have already got into the job market. So how do they get the jobs? Remember, our hope is that this is a self-driven initiative, that they're actually getting the jobs for themselves. So because we do a lot of online, teaching them on how to use the online spaces to get jobs, and we have basically used a lot on Fiverr. Fiverr is one of the spaces where students get freelancing jobs. So you can see that we have quite a number, like 65% of those interviewed or those who responded to our surveys, 65% have found their jobs through the job boards. So we normally use Brighter Monday. We use LinkedIn a lot, and most of them are getting jobs from the LinkedIn. And we also use Fiverr for those who are looking for consultancies. The mobile search, you can see the majority are getting the jobs for themselves. Again, 87% are using mobile search. And we also have people who search online for 78%. So they say that those who have clean online reputation, like those who are working on Fiverr or Upwork, they get recommended for jobs. So this is how the students are getting jobs, yeah? The referrals, this would include what it is that we are doing in the office. So it's around 61%. Learning skills, cold calling employers, that doesn't work very well. So you can see it's your experience, it's the online search. So we are going into virtual spaces. We have to basically train them on how to use the virtual spaces or online spaces to be able to market themselves, to build their profiles. That's why we insist on an e-portfolio. We insist on LinkedIn. We take them through Brighter Monday and another one we call Fuzu here in Kenya. We introduce them to recruitment agencies, although this doesn't work very well because they're also not willing to pay for that. So that's basically what we have been able to do with our employability journey. So now, if you have any questions, we can ask, but I wanted us to go into breakout rooms and think around these questions. Think about the model that I have shared and think about what you have learned from our model, what you think are our strengths, and what challenges you find in the model. You know, is it really realistic to you or not? And what would you like to adapt? And what recommendations do you have for us? So maybe Grace, you can assist me in that.
Yes, I'm trying to type the questions and put it in the chat.
Okay.
But our team would work on the breakout rooms and you see it on the screen.
All right. So I can stop sharing or?
Yes.
Okay. No, our portal is not through Salesforce. We have a separate portal that we have developed, and we normally use this. That has been internally developed, the portal. So it's still work in progress, but and helps us to implement our policies. And now the community service initiative, we normally leave that very open to the students. How we are organized across the country, we have regional chapters. So around where your university is, you identify something you can do as a team or even as an individual. You can identify an organization that you work with. For us on the portal, we just want to know you are engaged in community service, but we are also connectors. So we have database of various organizations across the country, and we do an introduction. How are we funded? We fundraise for these activities. So we have various partners that are working with us and funding our model. We have had one like a Seagull Family Foundation that has been supporting our employability program or the bridge programs that I've shared. But throughout the year, we are fundraising to support this. Remember, we are a scholarship organization, so we have to have sufficient funding for that. I don't know whether there's another question.
So I just typed the questions in the chat, and then we are working on the breakout room. So if there are any more questions, participants can go ahead and ask them. I'll see. Get ready.
So we have Coletta with her hand raised.
Yeah, thanks very much, Mary, for taking us through that wonderful model. My question is it just for IFAC scholars?
For now, it's been for IFAC scholars, but like last year and this year, we have opened to other organizations, that have groups of students and even some individuals that come, but they only join our bridge program. Like now, they're not in the schools where we are working or colleges. So they join us like for this transition workshop where we have them for 1 month. We have some that are from other organizations joining us. What we have also done, we have developed like a partnership with the universities. So we go to the universities to introduce them to our model.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. As we wait for the breakout room, not sure if I missed out this. How do you recruit these scholars? I got that you partner up with universities. Do we have links, application, periods that scholars use to apply for this program?
Yes, our recruitment starts at 14 years. So we send out an application at that age. So we share this application with partners at the grassroots. We have organizations at the grassroots that also recommend, but we have an application form. Then that starts in January every year and goes on up to July of every year. So they have to return their forms by July. Then we do interviews towards the end of the year. The purpose of the interview is to establish that these scholars are deserving, because our program is based on need, that we're looking at financially challenged, and then we look at the leadership potential. So we have interviews that go on in October, November in Kenya after we have ranked the applications. So we have an application process. We do not recruit into the scholarship program after Form 1. What we do with the universities that we are partnering with, where the scholars are being placed, is that we offer mentoring to the students at the university. So we introduce them to the Wezesha model, how they can be able to build their competencies. We also do this with the high schoolers to help them on their community service and also writing their journal, like visioning their future and seeing what they can do now so that they can achieve that future.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So our breakout rooms are ready. So you can see it on your screen.
So welcome everyone back. So we can have the leads from each room sharing what they have discussed based on the 4 questions that we had.
So you can, what's it called? So then the accommodation, graduate hostel accommodation, then and
Okay, group 1. Okay. Anyone anyone in group 1 wants to share what was discussed?
Okay, I think I'm
Okay.
in group. I'm not sure.
I was in group 1.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
But if you were part also, you can go ahead, no problem.
No, I wasn't in the same group with you.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Yeah, my team, for the first question that was asking what we learned, most of us mentioned and liked shaping the career at such an early age, as early as 14. They found it very commendable and very helpful for the youth as they are trying to shape their careers to the kind of professional careers that they want to take for their future. And then for the second question that was asking about the strength on the model, some of them mentioned starting career mentorship at an early age as 14 is a great strength for the model, because most of the platforms that we have and the models that we have, most of them look at the university level. And I've actually personally not heard of any that looks at career mentorship as early as at the age of 14. And then another strength that was mentioned in the team is employability, because if these scholars are mentored and supported as early as early at a 14 age, it reaches the point of them graduating when they already know where they would like to work, when they already know what they need for them to get employed. And then someone also touched base on the 21st century skill, because this model is offering the communication and the confidence skill, which are the main skills that most employers are looking out in the employees. So those are the strengths that we mentioned for the model. And then the challenges facing the model, someone mentioned about the financial sustainability, because when we were following the presentation and someone asked about a question on how they fund the model, someone mentioned, sorry, Mary responded that they do fundraising. And it's a great financial model, but then looking at maybe in cases, maybe there is no more fundraising, what would happen for the model? So we looked at that as a challenge. And the question that was talking about what we would adapt, someone mentioned shaping the career at an early age could be commendable for all professionals, because you don't have to find an individual forcing themselves to become something because it's already too late for them to take a certain career. And then lastly, about the recommendation for the model, the team recommended to upscale. I personally heard the model is operating from Kenya, not sure if there are other places it's operating from. But then if it's a very nice model, if it could upscale to also other places, other nations, it could really be very helpful, and to also scale the impact of the model and then replicate the model still how it's operating in Kenya, replicate it to other places as well through the different learning platforms or even partnerships. Yeah. That was it from Team 1.
Okay, we can go to Team 2.
Okay, so Team 2, we
or maybe before that, before we go to Team 2, I just like to also add that yeah, I was in Team 1, and we also talked about the possibility of organizing some like trainer of trainer sessions. If you can't be everywhere,
Yeah.
we are very excited to learn from you, and so we will be open to perhaps some more immersive training sessions on this so we could replicate it where we are.
Thank you. So we can go to team 2.
Okay, so team 2, we had, I think we tackled 3 of those questions. One is the learnings. And so there's incentive for the students to record their information because they understand its value. They can see where it's leading them to. And then EFAC has leveraged the e-platform very well, and they train the scholars on how to use the platform. And it's experiential, not theoretical. And so they are working on the platform and building their skills at the same time. And then the challenges, the other thing we tackled, data privacy was cited as a challenge. And the other question was sustainability because of the model of funding, which was also mentioned in the other team. And then for the recommendations, one recommendation which now comes from the data privacy challenge is put a data privacy statement on the platform. And then the other one with regards to the sustainability is explore opportunities for monetizing some aspects of the service. For example, selling the journal, and when EFAC offers the service to non-EFAC scholars, they pay something for it, which will now be a way of opening it up to more people, while at the same time generating some revenue. And yes, another recommendation was reach out to more people so that they can leverage the tool as well. And finally, the other recommendation is when the scholars are being trained on use of LinkedIn, mention to them the importance of having recommendations given on the LinkedIn platform by, say, their supervisors where they're doing the internships or whatever work they're doing. Seek to get recommendations on the LinkedIn platform, which will now help to enhance their credibility in the eyes of potential employers. So that's all we had from room 2.
Right. Thank you so much. Is there any comment from team 2 before I go to team 3? Okay, so team 3.
Okay, so the first question was, what did you learn? We learned the mechanism of collecting data, and it helps to track performance. And somebody also said it was good for personal development. Also, it helped to build the students up. The strength is that, one of the strengths is that it captures essential details and it empowers the student to pursue their interests. Some of the challenges was how do you select your beneficiaries? And also how to ascertain the impact on these students, because you mentioned those that have graduated, those that have gone to undergraduate program, those have completed. So how do you ascertain the impact? Because your way of measuring it was quite broad. Also, what you're doing, is this scalable and sustainable? If you have more people on board, will you give the same type of service to everybody? And also, how do you evaluate that the initiative actually helps the student? Because you were showing us different things the student posted, they did. How do you evaluate that it was actually the initiative that helped the student. The recommendation was one for fundraising, because somebody asked how you funded this. So the one recommendation was to leverage alumni. Also, there are people that are in the grassroots communities that this will benefit a lot. How do you get to them? Recommendation will be putting measures to reach these people that are in grassroots communities. Also, since this program is very relevant, to reach out to as many institutions as possible. Let it be an extensive project. That's all from my group.
Okay. Thank you so much. This is great feedback. I might not be able to respond to everything. It might take a very long time to respond to everything. I like what you have learned. I'm appreciative of that. I thank you for the feedback on the strengths. And I look at number 3, I think that's where I need to really capitalize on. There's been a question on scalability and sustainability and data privacy. So we have a data privacy like policy. We don't allow people to access the data that we have. The only way you can access any information is probably the public profiles, but still that we need to monitor that very well. And I think Coletta will take the suggestions that your team has suggested as far as that is considered. On the scalability and sustainability, financially, what we've been looking at is anyone who is not in the FAC program pays for the journal to actually buy the journal. That is the journal for high school. Through the community portal that we have, anyone who is not an FAC scholar and wants to go through the training program, then they will pay a small fee. We haven't implemented that as yet, except now for the transition workshop. Anyone who is not an FAC scholar has a daily rate, what it costs us for you to be here. And that is also access to our training program and also investing in a laptop. For technology, we've been very strong because we provide smartphones for the 14-year-olds that are used during the holiday for them to access the materials that we have. Also for sustainability, I didn't talk about our peer mentorship program and developing multipliers. How we've been able to be successful is by training a few people that get the model. Then those are the people that go to the schools and the universities. When you're working with the universities, we only ask them to invite people who are strong so that we can develop champions in the university, or what you're calling multipliers, and probably that's what you're referring to, TOTs. So we don't do a holistic, training everybody. We want people who are passionate and willing, because it's like we use it like a whole year journey to develop the multipliers. They have to do it themselves, be able to master it so that they can take someone else and mentor. So what we normally do is that after you have gone through the process and you're certified, then you train 3 other peers. You take 3 other peers because you're working with the universities. So in every university, we have at least 3 multipliers that have been trained as peer mentors. So they go through the whole journey. They have to have an e-portfolio, they have to have a LinkedIn profile, and they have to be reflecting and making sure that their e-portfolio is updated. That way we have an internal capacity to expand to all the scholars. Then the post-secondary are mentoring the high schoolers. So they're going to the high schoolers to help them with their manual e-portfolio, and also to make sure that they have done this through their phones. So we started off this year with using the phone to train the high schoolers. Previously, they have only done the manual journal with the peer mentors who are in post-secondary. About finances, we have now packaged, and we are packaging this so that when you're working with the institutions, then they pay a fee. We have done that with only one university so far in Kenya. So they have brought in they have selected their champions, and then their champions are trained with our multipliers. So our multipliers normally have a maximum of 5 people they have to mentor through the process. And then we expect these 5 people will each mentor 5 people within an institution, so that the institutions can start adapting the model within the institution. So like now going, what one team talked about, and that also now applies to us being able to scale. So that also like goes to the grassroots. So what happens is that through community service, most of our scholars are going back to their communities. So while you're working with the high schoolers, our scholars work with the primary schools in their locals. So they are going to help them also like start early thinking about their careers. They motivate them to perform well so that they can also get to the bigger schools. So that is something that has evolved without really like us planning about it, but the scholars appreciating their journey with us and knowing that they can be able to help somebody else in their community, particularly even their family members. And we see like we only take one child per family. And we have, through our interactions when we have once a year meeting with the alumni, you find that they were the first ones to go to college, and the ones after them have actually gone to college, and they have found a way of financing the college together. And they are going through the same journey with us. We leverage a lot on technology, and we encourage our scholars to invest in their own technology. So we co-share the laptop with them so that they are always accessing everything online. Our portal was started last year. That's when we developed the portal. The purpose of the portal was really to streamline our processes and to ensure that the scholars are able to track their journey and they're able to share and connect with each other. Our model is there. So we are going to open the model to the public, but now you can only access the training materials by paying a small fee. So that also it's a kind of way of self-sustaining and also paying the trainers we are developing. So we are coaching our scholars to become coaches of others, because you can only be able to make someone else be what you have become. And we believe strongly in that. I've also taken very kindly. So one of the thing, number 4, what would you like to adapt? I think adapting this is actually developing multipliers within your institutions. Starting early is actually, you can start like the first week of the university by really allowing the students to really dream. You know, when you're doing induction of the freshers at the university, and also like using your students to mentor the high schools near you. That way, they're also learning how to give, and they're also learning community service. We have taken it in different ways. For one, is where you discover what you're strong in and what your interests are, and how you can start implementing the change you want to see happen. But it's also a way of sharing with the younger people. It's a mentoring kind of initiative that you're able to help somebody else. If you ask yourself, if I was 18, what would I have wanted to do? So you're helping an 18-year-old shorten their journey into the job market. Through the community service, we have found that most of the scholars are finding their space for jobs. Can we relate our model to the success of the scholars? Somehow we relate to it. We relate to their success because it's really holistic. For one, we select the schools where they are going. These schools, we believe they create the ecosystem where this particular scholar is able to have a self-agency. You know, they're developing their self-image. Although we really want them to have an image not influenced by the schools, but the schools give them some sort of confidence and opportunities to interact. We take our scholars from very challenged backgrounds. You know, we're taking them from the slums, we're taking them from the rural areas. The only person they know or they have had is their teacher, and the teacher talking about engineers, yeah? So you're taking them to this school and they get exposed. When we do induction at the beginning, our entry survey, even their vision for the future is really, they don't know what really they want to be. But when you meet them 1 year later, actually you meet them 8 months later, their vision changes. The dream they have for themselves has changed. The problems they want to address have changed. Because of that exposure, they have been taken away from their comfort zone. So this the selection of the schools and we are placing them changes them. Some of them can't speak English. 8 months later, they're speaking to you in English. They're able to communicate. So also the environment where they're learning has a lot of influence. And we are very specific about that. So somehow we are able to connect that our interventions are making the person that they want to be. And it is by collaboration and partnerships with different people that allow us to be this successful. They didn't know what networking is. Actually, when they meet in Form 2 and you have brought people from the industry, they can't even approach those people. By the time they're in Form 3, Form 4, they know how to approach people when you bring them into the room. By the time they're in PS, you don't even need to do it for them. They're already networking. So we feel that our interventions have contributed to that. I think I'm being shown my time is up. Thank you, Grace. Yeah, so I welcome you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mary. It's been very insightful. I believe our participants, with the number of questions and the additions, shows how active this session has been. Thank you so much for sharing EFAC's model, and we look forward to seeing the many ideas that our institutions represented in this call would adopt. Thank you again. And just like Selena said, it will be good for them to also learn deeply what the module is. So we'll follow up on that and see how best we can offer subsequent trainings. We don't want to spend too much of your time. It's 2:30 on the GMT. Thank you all so much for joining. Mary is also a member of the community, so feel free to reach out to her via email if you have any questions. But thank you again for your time. We'll share the next meeting with you. Another thing that we'll be sharing with you is a form, an engagement form. So we'd like you to share office hours for others to learn from you. We'd like you to share what you've been learning. If there's any innovative idea you've been working on, we'd like to hear it and then share it on our website. So the link will give you the opportunity for members to share what they are doing and how we can communicate the benefits of the community so we can keep engaging. Thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your week and then a weekend that's upcoming. Goodbye. Bye.